Hello and welcome. So in last two videos what we have looked is the multiplication rule and total probability theorem. Now let me take an example to describe this. So assume करो कि you are looking up in the sky and either there is an aeroplane or there is no airplane. So how so let me first of all describe what is the event in this case. So let's say we have this event A. So event A is there is an airplane in the sky. So we are considering this event that A, there is airplane is flying above in the sky. Then what will be the A complement? There is no airplane flying in the sky, and if we have to draw the Venn diagram for this particular situation, so let's suppose we have this our complete sample space and there are two events in it, right? Either there is a airplane flying above the sky or there is no airplane flying above the sky. So there is airplane that is flying in the sky and there is no airplane that is not flying in the sky. And लेट्स एज्यूम कि इनकी जो प्रोबेबिलिटीज़ हैं वो मुझे पता है फ्रॉम सम प्रायर नॉलेज और सम प्रायर एक्सपेरिमेंट कि आपका अगर कोई एयरप्लेन स्काई में अगर मैं ऊपर देखूं और क्या चांसेस होगा कि आई विल फाइंड अ एयरप्लेन इज़ फ्लाइंग इन द स्काई. So let's call this probability of this event A, and we know from our prior experiment or from our prior beliefs or from the uh, prior experience that it is 0 point or you can say it is 5%, right? And if you look at the sky and you find that there is no airplane in the sky, so most of the time you will not find. So let's say that it is 95%, and these probability are what we call the prior probability. So so how we have find this probability? So maybe we have find this probability from our past experience, from our prior knowledge, and etc. Okay, now we have more information in this question. Let's suppose you have a radar and it is detecting if there is something flying in the sky. So radar will detect and it will show on the screen, or it will register on the screen if there is an airplane that is flying in the sky, or maybe if there is no airplane that is not flying in the sky, or maybe there is a airplane but it has been not detected by this radar due to something issues that is also getting registered, and maybe there is something else that is flying in the sky and it has been detected as a airplane by the radar. So what I am saying is that we have another event that you can call it as event B, that sub event B. So let's call this event B, that is in the pink, right? We can also look the same thing using the tree diagram. So मैंने tree diagram को भी आपको explain किया था. So for the visualization perspective it is good to have. So for the first case, for the prior knowledge, we have the two possibilities, right? That there is a airplane that is flying in the sky, or there is no airplane in the sky, right? Now we have next stage, or we have the sub event, that is this B, right? So let's suppose there is an airplane in the sky. So let me first of all describe the event B. So we have this event B, and what is this event B? So event B is something registered on radar स्क्रीन, राइट? अब ये रजिस्टर क्या हो सकता है? ऐसे हो सकता है कि रजिस्टर रेडार ने डिडक्ट कर, सो देयर इज एन एयरप्लेन इन द स्काई एंड रेडार ने उसको डिडक्ट कर लिया, राइट? सो हाउ वी कैन डिनोट दिस इवेंट? सो देयर इज सम airplane flying in the sky and radar has deducted it, right? So look at this event B, how we have defined something registered on the screen, right? So there is something that has been registered on the screen, और वो क्या है? That airplane is flying in the sky. और मे बी ऐसा हो सकता है कि airplane is flying in the sky but it has been not deducted by the radar, maybe due to some issues, due to some internal issues. So let's assume that possibility also, that there is something flying in the sky but it has not been registered on the screen by the radar. Now we can have another possibilities, that there is nothing flying in the sky but radar system has deducted that there is something flying in the sky. Maybe there is some other object that is flying in the sky, but it has been deducted that there is something flying in the sky by the radar. Or maybe radar is correct, and if there is nothing that is flying in the sky and it is getting deducted correct by the radar, that if there is nothing in the sky, then radar screen is not registering anything, right? So in these two cases, radar functioning is correct and it is giving the correct information, right? If there is an airplane, then radar is saying that yes, there is an airplane. If there is no airplane, then radar is saying that that's on the screen of the radar it is registering as there is no airplane. But if you look at these two, so actually there is an airplane but radar is saying that there is no airplane. That means ki this we can say this situation as a misinformation. So or you can say the radar has missed the deduction of an object. और इस केस में देखो आप कि what it is saying, that there is no airplane in the sky but radar system has deducted that there is an airplane in the sky, right? So we say this situation as a false alarm. Actually there is nothing but the system is showing there is something, right? So we have all the scenarios. And if you look at this Venn diagram, so we can mark all these four possibilities, right? So first of all, if you look at this half part, actually this should not be the half part, but let's say we have already drawn it, so let's assume, so this part is that there is nothing in the air in the sky, and this part is there is something, or there is a airplane in the sky, right? Now if you look at this event, so let me first of all this one, right? So this event is nothing but the there is something in the sky, or there is not something, there is a airplane in the sky and radar has detected it correctly, right? And if you look at this part, that is not in the B but in the A, right? So this part, this yellow part, is there is a airplane in the sky and radar system has not detected it, right? Because that this yellow part is outside the B. So if it is outside the B, then it is B complement. Similarly, if you look at this particular event, that means we have there is no airplane in the sky and this is inside the B, so radar has detected. So there is nothing in the sky and radar is, so this is false alarm. And if you look at this part, that is not inside the B, so this will be B complement. And so this green part is the event where there is no airplane and radar has detected that there is no object on its screen, right? So you can look these events from the tree diagram, or even you can directly look into this Venn diagram, right? So this is the, you can say, the simplest example or the simple example. That is why it is easy to point out each and every event, right? Okay, now let me ask you question. The very first question is that, so given this model, can we find each and every probability? Can we find the probability that, okay, before finding this probability, let me give you more information. So let's say event A has occurred. So if event A has occurred, that means ki we are left with these two possibilities, right? And we, or we can also say that we are living in this world, right? So if event A has occurred, radar has shown on its screen that there is an airplane, and it has the probability that radar is showing it on the screen if there is an airplane is 99%, right? And let's suppose, so what will be the probability that if this event A has occurred and radar is showing that there is no airplane, that will be 1%. So what is this probability, right? Or we can have also something here. Let's suppose ki there is nothing in the sky. So now we are residing in this world. Residing in this world means we have the condition, or we have the evidence that there is nothing up in the sky. That means ki from here radar can show the two possibilities, right? There is nothing up in the sky, but it is showing the false alarm. That means ki it is showing on its screen that there is something in the sky. And if it is not something that is in the sky, or if there is no airplane in the sky and the radar is showing that there is nothing in the sky, so let's say that this probability is 0, or we can say 90%, and this probability is 0.10, that is 10%. So what are these probabilities? So if you look at the statement of the question, these probabilities are nothing but the conditional probabilities, right? So in the first condition, what we have assumed that event A has occurred. So these probabilities are the conditional probabilities. So in first, what we are saying that event A has occurred, then we are saying that what's the probability of this event B, right? That is 99%. And what is this probability? So what we are saying that event A has occurred, and we are saying that what's the probability of B complement, right? Now similarly we are in this world, that means there is nothing up in the sky, and what's the probability that radar will show the false alarm if there is nothing in the sky. So we have given this probability that there is nothing in the sky. What's the probability that radar will show the false alarm? That is the 10%. And probability that there is nothing in the sky and radar will show there is nothing in the sky, that is the 90%. Right? Now we have the enough information, or do we have the enough information to calculate the all probabilities? So let's suppose we wanted to find the probability that of this event, right? In words, what we can say that find the probability that airplane is in the sky and it is detected by the radar system, right? Or radar screen is showing that there is something, or there is a airplane in the sky. So what's the probability of that? So basically what we are asking, or what we are using, is the multiplication rule, right? So from here what we can say that event A has occurred, right? So what's the probability that event A has occurred? That means there is something in the sky. If there is something in the sky, then what's the probability of B, or there is something in the sky, right? So this is what we have seen as a multiplication rule. So we wanted to find the joint event, right? Or we wanted to find the occurrence of this event A and B, that is equal to the probability of this first event. So here first event, what will be the first event? If there is something up in the sky, that will be the first event, times the conditional event, that is if there is something in the sky, what's the probability that it will get detected by the radar system. So from the tree diagram, if you look at what we are asking about the probability of this leaf, right? So इसको हम लोग कैसे find कर रहे हैं? We can directly say that it is the multiplication of this branch and this branch, right? So what's the probability? So let me assign this 0.05 here, right, from these, and 95% here, right? So from here we can write the probability of occurrence of the first event times the conditional probability, that is 0.99, right? Even we can ask the what will be the probability of this event, that airplane is in the sky and it has got missed by this radar, right? So it will be the multiplication of this branch and this branch, right? Or you can make use of the multiplication rule. Both are the same thing, right? So we can have the probability of each leaf. So if someone will ask that what will the probability that there is no airplane in the sky and it has not been detected by, or there is no airplane in the sky and the radar screen is showing there is nothing in the sky, so that will be the multiplication of this probability, right, and this probability, that is, or we can say that event 1 has occurred, and under this condition that event 1 has occurred, what's the probability of this event, right? So these are nothing but the multiplication. So how will you reach here? From here, by using this branch and this branch, right? So you just need to multiply these probability, and from the multiplication rule, if we are looking at this probability, these are the same thing, right? So that is 0.95 and 0.90, right? So this was the probability where we have make use of the multiplication rule. Now let me ask you, what's the probability of this event B? Or in words, what is the probability that radar screen will show that there is something up in the sky? So we are asking about the total probability of event B, right? So event B, अगर आप इस इवेंट बी को देखो तो इवेंट बी को आप वेन डायग्राम में देखो या ट्री डायग्राम में देखो, इवेंट बी के होने का यहाँ कितना वे है? 2 वे है। कैसे? देखो इवेंट बी इसके अंदर हो सकता है, ये हो गया, इसमें से कोई भी एलिमेंट हो गया तो इवेंट बी हो गया, या ये भी हो सकता है, राइट? और ट्री डायग्राम में देखो, व्हाट्स द इवेंट बी? इन वर्ड्स इफ यू से दैट इट इज़, जो भी रेडार की स्क्रीन में है, देयर इज समथिंग शोइंग अप। अब वो शो कब हो सकता है कि देयर इज एन एयरप्लेन एंड इट इज शोइंग दैट देयर इज एन एयरप्लेन, सो दिस इज आवर इवेंट, राइट? दैट एंड दिस विल नॉट बी, क्योंकि यहाँ पे क्या है कि देयर इज नथिंग, एंड दिस विल बी ऑल्सो, राइट? So from even Venn diagram, if you see, these are the two events, right? That if these two events are occurring, that means ki we can say that event B will occur. So we have to take care of all the scenario where this event B can occur. So event B can occur in this scenario and in this scenario, right? So we can make use of the additivity axiom, right? And again you can expand this, and since we have already find this, right, these event, so we can, or you can, अगर इसको भी आप expand करोगे, जैसे कि हम लोग अगर देखो ये तो A and B तो find किया हुआ है ना, आप इसको लिख सकते हो like this, right? So from here we can find the probability, the total probability of event B is 0.05 times 0.99 plus what's the probability of this event? So this is nothing but the first event has occurred times the conditional probability that first event has occurred, what will the probability of this event be? So देखो कौन सा ब्रांच, कौन सा इवेंट है ये, this one is a complement B, so 0.95 times 0.10, right? So the 0.05 times 0.99 into, so plus 0.95 into 0.10, right? So this is the total probability theorem, and this is what we say as a multiplication rule.